You know, some people say that parts of this movie doesn't make sense. And I say none of it does. It's Christmas time, which means it's time for ugly sweaters and horrible Christmas movies.
Yeah!
So festive today.
Thank you.
We're talking about A Christmas Horror Story. So it opens up on Santa Claus on the night of Christmas Eve, and he's standing in his stables. He's just like, it's gonna be a rough one tonight. And then he turns around and his face is gashed and covered in blood.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, Santa, what have you been through tonight? And then something starts pounding on the doors and he's just like, no, no!
And then it just flashes white and goes to like a town, and it says 12 hours earlier. So the movie's gonna take us through 4 stories.
And in the actual movie, they're all cut together. But that shit's too complicated, so we're just gonna tell you the stories individually.
One at a time,
yeah. And they all like kind of interweave with each other, but like not really. Forgive us, but it makes our lives easier.
So it starts off, it's Danger Dan,
Who is Will Shatner.
and he has a radio studio, and he's got his Christmas sweater on. Oh, hey folks, it's Christmas, and let's get our eggs a noggin, and let's get our liquor a liquorin. He says that he loves Christmas, and
it's his favorite time of year.
it's his favorite time of year.
Dangerous Dan is going to tell you a secret. I love Christmas.
But last Christmas, their town had an incident where 2 kids were murdered.
They were like murdered at a school. It was just like a big mystery, and the killer is still possibly at large. So he's just like, keep those spirits high and let's go over to Storm and Norman for the weather. Norman, how you feeling about Christmas?
And Storm and Norman's not answering him, and then he starts like writing something.
And he's just,
Oh, hey, Norman. He's writing me a little Christmas card. This is exciting. What's it going to say?
Storm and Norman's a party pooper, but he'll be at the charity food drive at the mall later. And then it cuts to these 3 kids in a car, and they are going to go to the school that those 2 kids got murdered last year.
because they're like paranormal investigators or something.
Again,
So bad.
it was a school project.
Was it a
Yes,
school project?
it was a school project.
But they're breaking into school to do it. There's 3 kids in the car: Molly, Dylan, and Ben. Molly pulls out her iPad and is just like, okay, like, don't tell anyone I have this, but I have police footage on my iPad. Let's take a look-see. It's this police officer named Scott who is walking around the basement of their school, and is just like, oh man, like, this guy's like hung up on the wall, and like his hands are like nailed to the wall, and all of a sudden Scott's just like, wait, you hear that? Someone's singing.
A body like falls from the ceiling, and it's the girl that also died.
Yeah.
Everybody in the car gets like spooked. They turn it off. They're parked outside of their other friend Caprice's house because Caprice was helping them steal the keys to the school. Here you go. Here's the keys. I got the stickiest fingers in this town. And then, like, her boyfriend gropes her. And then, like, she's like, oh, I gotta go. She goes into her car, and the 3 friends take off to go to the school.
They break into the school, and they're like walking around the halls, and they're like, in these hallowed halls, some students died. And then the principal is like walking to the hallways. Oh geez, the principal,
Oh, no.
Go into the basement.
They come across these hallways in the basement that apparently was a nunnery, a convent.
That's where they would put all of the girls who got pregnant but weren't married, because that was a sin.
While they're walking through all these hallways, Molly was telling Ben and Dylan about this girl who lived there, claimed that she was pregnant, but she didn't have sex. It was more like a Virgin Mary kind of situation. Nobody believed her. She ended up dying trying to abort her baby.
Alright, this place is fucking creeping me out because they're like hearing sounds and shit. So, time to leave. So they go back towards the stairs, but then the door shuts and they can't open it back up. And they're just like, hey, let us out of here. And no one can hear them. And they're just like, ah, fuck, now we're trapped in this creepy basement. So they like go into a room that has like a nativity scene set up in there. And then Ben starts freaking complaining.
Every Christmas Eve, we eat pizza with champagne, watch The Sound of Music. And before we go to bed, we each open one gift.
Ooh, Ben.
Yeah, you're trapped in a freaking basement.
Hell of a Christmas, huh?
And then Dylan needs to pee.
And Molly and Ben are still in the room with the nativity scene. And Ben starts hearing things. He starts hearing a girl singing. And he's just like, do you hear that? And Molly doesn't hear that. The singing gets louder. And then all of a sudden Molly looks at Ben. And there's a creepy girl like standing right next to him. She freaks out. She screams. And then she starts convulsing
she starts
on the
freaking
floor.
out.
And they're like, oh my god, Molly!
They all pass out and like, I guess Molly was fine. She stops seizing up. Molly walks back into the room, wakes Dylan up and is just like, hey, I need to show you something. She just like starts taking off her clothes and like sits down on the bed and Dylan's just like, wait, really? And he like walks over and she like pulls him over by his pants and like starts unzipping his pants and he's just like, Molly, no, this isn't gonna happen.
I have a girlfriend.
Yeah. Molly doesn't like that answer, so she starts making a cross vibrate. And then it cuts away. And then she walks back into the room with Ben. Ben wakes up.
Pulls up a chair and is just staring at him, like pushes him onto the chair and starts like lifting up her skirt and they start fucking.
Like full on. Oh!
They're fucking. She gets off of him because like, thanks for the cum. And then all of a sudden Molly like snaps out of it and says, Ben?
What the
What
fuck?
the fuck did you do to me? And he's like, what? You had sex with me. What? And then Ben really thinks that it's time to find Dylan.
And so they're like walking around and they're like hearing some more stuff and they're just like, oh. And then they find a room and oops, Dylan's dead.
Ben's freaking out and then looks at Molly and he just knows that she did it.
Ben is just like, do you hear that, baby?
Molly started thinking, oh my gosh, her and Ben just had coitus.
Mm-hmm.
Grace wants me to carry her child. Like a flash. And this girl pops out and it's a ghost, but she looks like some scene girls that I knew in 8th grade. And then she was holding this like plastic baby
Obviously
doll.
fake baby.
Used her mind powers to push Ben onto the wall and then like snaps his neck.
Yeah.
She like touches Molly's stomach.
Just to confirm, just to be like, yes.
Yes, that's my baby in your tummy. Now leave. Opens up a door and she just walks away.
Yeah. The end of that story.
The end of that story, yeah. So it goes back to
Dangerous Dan.
checking in on our holiday spirit.
He's pretty much just getting drunk.
And he's just putting on some more holiday tunes for your enjoyment.
Don't forget to go to that mall to give to charity.
And then it cuts away to the family of the cop that was in the video.
So, police officer Scott and his wife and child are going out looking for a good old Christmas tree. And he's just like, you know where we're gonna find the best one? In the restricted area that it tells you not to go. They find the perfect tree and they're like carrying the tree back to the car, and then Will stops and is like hearing something and like turns around and is just like, I gotta walk this way away from my parents. So Will walks away. His parents just don't fucking notice that he's not there anymore. Oh, where's our child?
And so they run through the forest like, Will, where are you? Scott goes to a tree and is looking around, and there's like a big hole in the tree, and he peeks in there. He puts his hand in there, and then something touches him. And his son pops out of the tree hole, and him and his wife are just stuck. They're like, Will, like, why the hell did you run away?
And his wife's just like, don't you yell at him! And like takes him back to the car. Then they go back home, have their Christmas tree all set up, and they're like decorated. Will just sitting there doing nothing.
He won't say a word to them.
Then they're like eating dinner. Mom and Dad are finished, but Will's still going. Like, he is getting at the spaghetti. Will, stop eating so much of that damn spaghetti. You're gonna get
choke.
sick. Yeah. He puts his hand on the table to try and get the fucking spaghetti, and Will's just like, ah! And stabs him
with a fork. Scott is like, what the hell? And is about to hit his child, but no, Wifey Poo's like, Scott, I'll handle it. Go to your room.
And then Wifey Poo goes back and talks to Scott and is just like, so, have you noticed that, like, Will might be acting kind of strange?
And he gets all angry and goes into the living room.
Yeah, he just sleeps on the couch and, like, drinks some eggnog. And then the dad's, like, asleep on the couch listening to
Dangerous Dan.
these holiday classics. He looks over at the Christmas tree. All the presents are unwrapped. Will was being a bad boy. Will, you opened all the Christmas presents, didn't you? I'm gonna put the fear of God in your eyes. And Mom walks in there. It's just like, no!
Don't touch my child!
Don't touch him!
She says, like, I thought you were getting better from that incident last year. You said you didn't need to go to therapy. Get out of here! Go! And so he goes back to the living room.
He goes to look at the case file from that gruesome murder of last year. Will sneaks out of his room again, and now he's on the ceiling. Mom hears some like commotion going on in the living room, so she walks out there and sees her husband strangled with a belt.
And his hand cut off.
And, to keep it festive, he's wrapped in holiday lights.
The wife got a phone call, and it was from a man who owned that forest that they cut down the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he was calling to tell her, hey, I know you took my tree. Is your son okay? Or is he still lost? He's telling her that she didn't bring home no child.
She brought home a changeling. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta bring it back to the forest. So she's just like, oh, okay. And then you'll like find a way to give me my son back? He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So she like walks out into the living room, and there's Will sitting with his dad playing with the severed hand. Hey, Will, you want to put on your coat and we can like go for a ride?
She has like a bat in her hand, and Will's just like, I see that bat. He like runs at her, and she's like, dong! And then she starts beating him in the head, puts him in a bag, and drives back to that forest.
She like drives that bag all the way back to the tree where she lost her son. And the guy that like owns the forest is just like, thank you for bringing that little monster back. Okay, and you're gonna bring my son back? And he's just like, I don't know where he is.
It's not up to me.
Yeah, and then he like opens the sack, and a little like fucking Goblin Boy comes out, and he's so gross. Mom's freaking out, and she's like, what do you mean you won't give me my son back? And she like points the gun that she has at him.
But that guy has a gun too, and he points it at her, but she freaks out instantly. Boom! Shoots that guy dead. And then that gremlin just gets real close to her face. And she's just like, my son. And he goes into that little hidey hole in the tree. And then her son comes out of the tree. She's like, Will, it is you. And then they walk away.
And then so
she gets her son back.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!